And hello once again, everybody. This is Mike Acosta along with Lisbet Marquez. Welcome to Houston City Beat Weekly. We're here once again at Capismo Studios. And Lisbet, here we are another week, several days of excitement. We have some stuff that's happening this weekend that you're going to start to see for the first time.
Yes.
We're going to be at the Astros Hall of Fame. The Houston Astros Hall of Fame induction ceremony is actually tomorrow. And our friends Bill Brown and Bill Doran, the Bill Brown being the longtime broadcaster for the Houston Astros, and Bill Doran being a very popular longtime second baseman and infielder for the Astros. They're both elected to the Astros Hall of Fame. So we're looking forward to getting out there to Minute Maid Park, and there'll be a ceremony. If no one has seen that before, it's quite a formal affair. And it should be a lot of fun for you because you've never been to an induction ceremony like that before.
I haven't, yeah. So I know that you were very involved in the creation of the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us about that? How did all that come about?
Well, for years, people have talked about the Astros having a museum or an Astros Hall of Fame. And I had actually been part of meetings and working for the Astros before, here with Houston City Beat. I was over with the Astros for a long time. And even as far back as like 2004 and 2003, we were talking about putting a museum at Minute Maid Park, and it just never came together. There was all sorts of reasons. Just it wasn't the right time, budget concerns, the whole thing. It is not a cheap project to put together when you talk about putting together a museum and creating a revenue center and business units around it and how you do it. But I did formulate the plans to put one together. The one thing that the Astros currently don't have is a full-fledged museum that you can actually walk through and experience Astros history one-on-one. But the Astros Hall of Fame brings an element of that because there are some exhibition cabinets that are out there in Home Run Alley from back around behind the Crawford boxes in left field over towards center. And you can see some of that history on display. All the plaques are there as well for the Astros Hall of Fame. And we finally put it together, and I remember designing the plaques, how it was going to look, writing the bios that were going to go on the plaques, and the jacket designs that were going to go in there. And it was a very fun process. It was a lot of work, but for somebody who grew up as a fan of baseball and a fan of the Astros, like I was, it was a great project to be part of. And
a dream project.
It was. It really was. It was something that I had been working on a lot of history projects for the Astros during my entire time there, from the days even back when we were at the Astrodome. But to actually establish an entity like the Astros Hall of Fame, something that really celebrates the legacies and tells the stories of the franchise and puts it in a permanent fashion, this permanent format where we have a formal induction ceremony, we celebrate their careers, and then their plaque goes up in the ballpark, and then the families get to come out, and it's really a great environment because a lot of times when people, players or executives or broadcasters, whoever it is that's working in baseball, they're always at the park, and the families get to come out to the games and they get to sit in the stands. But if the person who is working for the team is always working during the ball game, sometimes you don't even get a chance to sit with especially if you're a player, you don't get to sit with your wife or kids or anything like that in the stands. So when you have the privilege of being inducted into a Hall of Fame, like this, the Team Hall of Fame, it really allows the family to reflect back and look at what actually was accomplished from a very nice retrospect type of view, and they get to really see what was going on. And I think too, the inductee really gets to look back on their career and see, in an all one encompassing view, what went on. Because when you are going through a career and you are working or playing those games, you're kind of like in the midst of a constant hurricane, and there's a bunch of stuff going on at one time, and time passes and years pass. And then before you know it, 10 years are up, 15 years are up. And so it's really cool to really bring that, to have had a role in establishing that for the Astros, because that was something that the team never had before. and I'm certainly very proud of it that we have it there. And I love seeing the faces of the families, the people who are there to congratulate their grandfathers, their dads, their brothers, or that type of thing. We haven't had a female go into the Astros Hall of Fame yet. The major league players are, they've all been up to this point, they're all male, but the Astros Hall of Fame is not limited only to players. We have broadcasters and executives and people who have had a long-lasting impact on the franchise who are eligible to go in there. And there's certain procedures and everything. And that was something that was really cool to come up with, like how do you, what are the guidelines, like for a player, you can't be on the ineligible list for the National Baseball Hall of Fame. So I'm sure you know who Pete Rose is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Pete Rose was banned from Major League Baseball, and he's the all-time hits leader. Nobody has any more hits than Pete Rose, and he played for most notably the Cincinnati Reds and also the Philadelphia Phillies, and he had a great career. But he's banned from baseball because he was he admitted to gambling against his team when he was a manager. Well, gambling is not allowed in Major League Baseball. Yeah, so it's funny that she's kind of hearing this for the first time, and
I did not know this.
So there you go.
Know more.
But anyway, that's an example. So if Pete Rose would have been a member of the Houston Astros, he would not be eligible for the Astros Hall of Fame because of that. Yeah, and it's actually been a sticky thing for the Cincinnati Reds because they want to acknowledge, and they have actually now acknowledged his career a little bit more, but they go by the same rules too, and you have to have parts of 3 seasons with the Astros. So, guys like Roger Clemens, he's eligible. I know you know who Roger Clemens is, right?
Of course I
do. Let the comedy begin, yes. So, Roger Clemens was here for parts of 3 seasons.
Believe me, I am holding back many comments that I would like to say, but I'm not, because half of them would be inappropriate.
So, putting these procedures in place was a fun process because we also, what we had to do too, the Astros have a large number of uniform numbers that are retired, which means that nobody else is allowed to wear that number anymore because it is retired by the franchise.
That's what retired
means. There you go. Never happens again. So, I just need to make sure that I'm explaining because being such the baseball student that you are.
Well, I do know what retired means. Yes, I kind of put 2 and 2 together there.
So anyway, we had to put in some. I'd mentioned to Reed Ryan, who was the team president at the time.
Do we have a drum sound?
Drum sound.
Yeah, because that was funny.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe. Maybe I'll put one in there. Here, hold on one sec.
I think this equipment does have.
No, here, watch this. Watch this. Ready? See, I told you. I just did it. I put it in there post-production.
Oh, wow. Great.
So we had to also come up with a way, across baseball. I did some studying and looked at how other teams retired their numbers. And usually the common denominator was the fact that the player who had a retired number was also in the National Baseball Hall of Fame. And at the time, we had several players that had played in Houston, but did not get inducted into the National Hall of Fame with an Astros hat, like as a Houston Astro. Craig Biggio became the first person to become a player that was inducted as a Houston Astro.
So they have to be a member of the National Hall of Fame?
Yes, that is usually the requirement across Major League Baseball.
For players.
It's kind of an unspoken
for
rule, but it's a guideline.
Obviously.
For players, yeah. And so if you are in the National Baseball Hall of Fame, then you are considered for number retirement with the Houston Astros. And right now, we have Bagwell and Biggio. Well, their numbers are already retired. Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell, they're retired already. So it would require another player who many probably would think is Jose Altuve. If he continues the career that he's having, he still has a pretty long way to go, but he's certainly on that track. And if he does retire, it doesn't happen right away because you retire, and then 5 years later is when you're eligible to be elected to the National Baseball Hall of Fame. So it's not
someone could wear the number that you were wearing.
Yeah, theoretically they can. But teams, if you have an impact player like a Jose Altuve, who he wears 27, and if he has a Hall of Fame type of career, they usually won't issue that number out because it belongs to him. It's kind of unspoken.
And what pressure, right? What pressure for that other player to play with the same number. Those are big shoes to fill.
It is. And, that's how come you make your own number. Craig Biggio, who had number 7, he started out as number 4. And it's funny because he wore number 44 in high school and in college, and he wanted to wear 4 when he came to the Astros.
Why didn't he wear number 44? It was already taken?
Because usually those numbers were he was an infielder and a catcher, and those numbers generally weren't given to that type of number wasn't given to that type of position player. That's usually like a number that goes to a pitcher or something like that.
Totally off topic, by the way.
Totally off topic. But anyway, so
get one of those little ringers so every time we get off topic, I can the buzzer. One of those buzzers.
We're going to do it. Here, watch it. I'm doing it right now. When you watch this again, you're going to hear this buzzer. So anyway, Craig Biggio at the time, when he came over to the Astros as making his major league debut, 4 was taken. And he couldn't wear it because somebody else
we're still off topic
was wearing it.
We're still off topic.
Well,
we were talking about the Hall of Fame.
Yes, actually. I'm just explaining to you like the retired numbers.
Okay.
So anyway, Biggio switched over to number 7 because somebody else had number 4, or they wanted number 4 when they came to. So he had to switch to 7 because somebody else, just gonna make it real clear, cut and simple. Someone else who had more baseball experience than him came to the Astros and wanted number 4 because he had been wearing number 4, more seniority, and so he wound up with number 7. Now 7 is one of the most popular numbers in Astros history because Craig Biggio made it his own. So you just never know. You say it's
that
shoes
number
to fill.
might work out for you after all.
Maybe. Yeah. So anyway, we're going to be at Minute Maid Park for the Astros Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and we're going to take some video, and you'll see that there, and you'll see those types of things up close and personal for the very first time. I know you're excited.
I am. Unfortunately, I won't be able to wear the 2 jackets that I have because it'll be too hot. But
it is air conditioned inside Minute Maid Park.
I know, but I'm not going to show up with those 2 jackets from the Astros jackets.
Yeah, that's right. Those the rainbow jackets that you have.
Yes, but it's too hot for that.
So that's coming up. We're looking forward to that. It'll be a lot of fun over at Minute Maid Park. We'll feature it here on Houston City Beat on one of the episodes, and also on Astro Talk as well. We're going to talk to Bill Brown. Bill Brown is going to be one of our guests on the Astro Talk podcast here, and so look out for that. And we also want to remind you that we're looking for contestants for Do You Know, the game show that we're going to be bringing to Houston City Beat Weekly, this show here, where you will be live on this show, and you will be a contestant. People can see you, they can hear you. We're going to have questions, we're going to have prizes, and we'll see who wins the trivia contest. That's really what it is. It's questions about Houston and how well do you know your city, and that's called Do You Know? And
so I'm assuming you're going to be the one that's going to be grading all this, right?
When she says grading, I know what she really means. She means judging. And so
grading.
So no, not grading, but it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun with this, and we look forward to bringing that here on Houston City Beat Weekly. That's coming up next. So anyway, that'll do it for this edition of Houston City Beat Weekly. And we had a little update here, and we'll have another one next week. So for Lisbet Marquez, I'm Mike Acosta. Thank you for watching.